So today's Fireside Chat, everyone, is the intersection of F&B, packaging, and sustainability through the experience of Ecolean, one of the market leaders in lightweight materials. Again, we're passing it around just a little bit. You'll get a sense of what that is, and hearing how they approach customer engagement and industry engagement. So, Peter, let's just start with Ecolean's mission. We're at an ESG conference. I imagine that's a very big part of it, although it's coming from 1996, the word didn't even exist. So tell us what the mission is today, if it's still consistent from back then, and how it aligns with circular economy and what we're discussing.
Well, the company was founded back in 1996, and the background is a family that has been in liquid food packaging for their whole entire work life, so to say. And already back in 1996, the founder had a very strong focus on not only circular economy, but also on sustainability. So he wanted to develop a packaging which, first of all, addresses food waste. Because about approximately 30% of all the food that we harvest goes to waste. And especially if you're working in any kind of liquid food, here the food waste is significant. So he developed this new packaging back in 1996, where he wanted to, so to say, enclose this food waste thing, but also a very flexible packaging, which is extremely light. So there's less plastic in one of these than in a traditional carton-based package. So this was kind of his mission. How can we address less food waste, circular economy, and the whole, the holistic view on this? And back in 1996, you won't remember that, but this was not on anyone's agenda. No one spoke about this. No one had this as a core value in their business. But he was actually an extreme entrepreneur, and he saw this opportunity.
There were two tidbits I remember from the podcast, and I'd like to just get an update on the progress made on that. One is you guys have developed a material that's light years ahead of the competition or just industry in general that allows you to import into Europe certain products. That's number one, so I'd love to hear about that, as that was a theme spoken earlier today. And the second thing is the origin story. It was like a family thing with Tetra Pak, is that right? Maybe tell us, set the stage a little bit.
That's the family story, that back in... So the owner of the company is actually a Rousing, and the Rousing was the one that invented Tetra Pak. But back in the beginning of the 90s, the two brothers that inherited Tetra Pak, they split. One kept Tetra Pak, and the other one started Ecolean.
So a bit of a story there in terms of the
legacy.
Like
Adidas and Puma, the ones that they split.
So they're secretly giants in the industry here.
Well, actually, we are not even allowed to talk to each other.
Wow, really?
Never.
Is that for like anti-competition rules or something?
Exactly.
Okay.
So if I get to meet the CEO for Tetra Pak, I would kind of take a turn.
We should invite them onto the next conference. Just like back-to-back panels.
There would be no handshake.
And so you would be indirectly speaking to each other. Mimi, make that happen next year.
Say that. But you asked me about the material. Well, as you might know, in 2030, there's a huge shift coming in Europe, because that's when we're all supposed to go for designed for recycling. And for anyone who has not read about this yet, this is a game changer for the industry. Because by 2030, all liquid food and food packaging is supposed to be designed for recycling. And this is, if you don't get this right, you're out of business. Because all the big brand owners and all the governments and all the government bodies, they will immediately ask you, have you been designed for recycling? If you haven't, you're out. And what we are developing right now, because this existing package consists of 65% polymers and 35% dolomite or carbon black, which is the same as chalk. And when I went to school, my teacher used chalk on the blackboard. Did any of your? Exactly. So they used chalk. So this inventor, he managed to merge this into one of the 8 layers of this to reduce the plastic content. The problem is that by 2030, if you are going to be designed for recycling, you have to be a monomaterial. And a monomaterial, according to the EU regulations, is 80% of one material. We will actually achieve 87 when we reduce or we take out the chalk and we replace it by more polymers.
So, Peter, this sounds really scientific and impressive. Congratulations. What makes this so difficult? It makes it sound like we're mining like rare earth minerals from China or something. Is like what's the complexity behind this?
The complexity, of course, that it has to be food safe. It has to be very flexible. It has to be super light. So it's extreme complexity. And if you say that it's not so easy, well, see you in 2030.
Okay, so we can buy the products here in Vietnam today, though.
Absolutely.
Or the version of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Existingly, we still have this format where we have 35% chalk. But come 2026, 2027, you could actually choose whether you want this one or you want the new one.
You know, at the Vietcetera office, we like to stock a lot of products of our partners. We're going to have to follow up on that. It's a great story.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the efforts being made to enhance the recyclability of your current products and future products across different regions. Is that a challenge working with the supply chain, the current infrastructure in emerging markets? Do you have to kind of navigate that yourself, or do you find that the infrastructure from partners and governments are there, or at least they're working toward it?
But the problem is you can never isolate in this whole chain of events that has to happen. You can never isolate one and say, this is the one that's going to do it. It's like it goes from an infrastructure post-consumption, which in some countries are there, in other countries not even exist. I was in Indonesia. Who was it that knew how wide the country was?
I think that was Jennifer.
Exactly. I mean, there's no existing post-consumption collection. And you can say, well, if that is not in place, then the other parts don't have to do anything. That's not true. So it's a collaboration between brand owners, between suppliers of the packaging material, between governments, etc., etc. And that is the big challenge. I used to live in Pakistan. When I said post-consumption, they did this. And so we couldn't it's such a big issue, and I appreciate what EU is doing, and other parts of the world as well. But it's a collaboration that has to start, not when your kids grow old, but it has to start today, because otherwise we're running out of time here.
How would you measure the progress made on this goal, specifically on the circular economy initiatives? What are those KPIs for Ecolean as a business?
The founder of the company back in 1996, he decided that there are two things we need to do. We need to be trustable, and we need to be, so to say, easy to measure what we are doing. So we decided back in 1996 that we should try to be totally transparent. So we have what is called EPD, Environmental Product Declaration, on every single part of our process, from cradle to grave. So anyone who's interested in to see, so how do you achieve these objectives? How do you reach these targets? It's totally transparent. And as far as I know, well, at least I know the companies I know, we are the only company that does this. Secondly, there's an independent body called EcoVadis, and they measure sustainability, and not only sustainability in terms of waste management, also in terms of inclusion, workforce, human rights, etc., etc. And we started to cooperate with EcoVadis 5 years ago. Then we became gold, but for the last 4 years, we have actually achieved platinum. And there's only 1% of all companies in all industries across the globe that reaches platinum. So we are super proud. Normally when I say this, the guys from Australia, they would start clapping their hands. Oh, spontaneous applause. Thank you so much. No, but EcoVadis Platinum is fantastic. We're super proud of that.
I'm scrolling through all my paper notes here, and I did some research last night. The word ESG doesn't actually really appear a lot on Ecolean's websites. I mean, you're obviously here at the ESG conference. Could you talk more about, and I'm talking about this because I'd love for the companies here to kind of learn a thing or two from you and from Ecolean about how you communicate those values without having to use very specific frameworks.
Well, I mean, we do it in all channels we can. We do it directly to the end consumer through our website. We do it on LinkedIn. We do it on all kind of social media. We have examples also where we, together with the customers, actually on the package, directly on the package, where we then promote and explain our sustainability approach. Less waste, less food waste. For example, if you take one of these, if you want to try to get everything out of here, if it was a carton-based package, it would probably end up leaving 8% of the content inside the pack. If you try with an Ecolean pack, it's going to be less than 3. And if you think that 5% is not so much, if you multiply that by the number of packs that are being sold, liquid food packaging, around the world, and there are approximately 750 billion liquid food packs sold globally. And then if you take that times 5%, it has impact. And these kind of messages we are trying to promote both on the packs in certain cases and also on our website and et cetera, et cetera. And then another thing, someone spoke about inclusion and workforce. When I came here, and I walked into the office the first day, exactly 1 year ago. We have an objective by 2030, we should be 50-50 gender balance. And I walked into the office, and I saw the situation was dramatically wrong, because we had 100% women. And we're desperately trying to get guys to work with us, but we're still 95, because since I came here.
What you just shared, I have to say, you guys seem like you know how to make money. So congratulations. Just want to say that. That's in a good way, by the way. Next topic, I want to talk about our government regulations and policies driving towards a circular economy. What role do you guys believe they could play in your kind of world?
Huge. But again, we can't isolate one single part of the chain, of the food chain. But, I mean, it has to be that we together with the government, with all the different players and the whole chain, we sit together and we try to understand why it is so important. As I said, I came from Pakistan. We had enormous discussions with the government. We started with vending machines where you could actually go with our packs. You could put them in a machine and you can get a little bit of token money out. And all these things, they don't matter on a small scale, but they matter mentally for everyone to see that you can do something. When you take our material, you can reuse that. We can make plastic pallets. So there's so many things we can do, but we can't do it on our own because then it doesn't matter. It has to be in collaboration with all the players.
Today's conference is an investor conference. Is Ecolean a public company, a private company? Is it a family company?
No, Ecolean is a totally 100% private company.
Okay. Does it have investors or is it a family?
No, they have one investor and it's the Rosing family.
Are you guys open to investment?
No.
No. Okay. I was trying to figure out how to plug in for the PE firms here, but I'll skip that. Let's turn our attention to the emerging markets. You're a global business, 30 countries, was it? Are you in Australia by any chance?
No, we're in New Zealand,
okay,
but we're not in Australia yet.
Okay, well someone's going to approach you after this. How does Ecolean view the potential for investments in this region?
Well, I mean, we have only scratched the surface, haven't we? I mean, there's a reason why we as a company want to be here. There's a reason why we think this is so important. Vietnam's general sentiment is about growth. It's about making a huge footprint, not only in terms of immediate short-term growth, but also in terms of making sure that we get these different steps in place. So I would urge any investor into this that this is the time to come in. This is the time when we can all have impact on what the future is going to look like when it comes to all these so important steps.
In the whole supply chain of Ecolean doing business here in Vietnam, what are the gaps and opportunities for operators, companies, and investors to make a difference? So if you were to pick out specific points that you're struggling with and you'd gladly spend money or invest on a vendor or a partner to help
I think
out your business.
the waste management is where more people need to get in. We need to find a solution. I spoke to a guy from a company called Tomra. I think it's originally a Norwegian company. And he says that for them, this was like, what do you call it, a white spot. So there is, and I can understand it's difficult. When you have such rapid growth, it's difficult. Not all sectors or not all parts can actually cope with the speed. But if I were in that kind of industry, I would definitely go into Vietnam ASAP.
Is anyone representing waste management here or interested in investing? Raise their hands. There's one lady, Huing. Just one. Well, it should be a monopoly for you then, right?
Exactly.
So, Peter, what advice would you give, given the progress Ecolean's made, both in Vietnam and globally, to other companies looking to adopt these principles?
I think I was listening to the panel before, which I appreciated very much. And I think that if you, it's kind of more from a philosophical point of view that if you want to start, whether you want to make money, you want to lose weight, or whatever you want to do in life, but if you want to start tomorrow, you got to start today. You can't sit down planning for the future. I mean, because it's happening right now, right here. And I have 4 kids, and they have their own kids. And I can't sit on my hands just waiting, not doing something for my grandchildren. I mean, what the hell are we going to leave behind us? I have a daughter, she said, do you know, Father, that is only... No, she said Dad, but anyways. Dad, there are only 20 harvests left in the world. And I said, that can't be true. And then she showed me some website where it said, but we have to do it now. And seriously, we can't think about, first quarter results was so and so. That's important as well. But we have to start now, all of us.
How were your quarter 1 results?
So again?
How were your quarter 1 results?
Very good. Actually, very good.
What's one thing you wish the general public knew about Ecolean and its business?
Not about Ecolean. I would urge anyone to understand the circularity, the whole impact we all have. And also, it starts with you. It is not someone else that has to fix this, or the government should, or they should up there in Hanoi or Stockholm or wherever we are. It's up to us to do it. And understand about the whole circularity of this whole thing. That's what I would urge anyone to do.
And Peter, since we have a couple hundred people in the audience today and throughout the day and tomorrow, one of my questions I always like to ask is, you're here today to share about your expertise, about what you know about the business. What's 1 or 2 things that you'd like to know so that our audience out here can approach you during the coffee break, which is starting right after this, I think? Okay. Peter, over to you.
The what?
It could be about anything. Doesn't even have to be about ESG. It could be about someone just wants to approach you and sell you something during the coffee break.
Well, I'm here. I'm super flexible. So, I mean, it's just about approaching me.
So what would you like to know, though, so they can help you?
I would like to know more from the government. What are they doing to address these issues? And do they actually... Because I've seen in emerging markets that somehow you put certain things on the back burner. Because you want to create urbanization, you want to create growing middle class, you want to create everything there. What is the government doing? I would love to talk to some government representatives to understand what are they going to do about the circularity. What are they going to do about waste management? What are they going to do about food waste, et cetera, et cetera. So if anyone here from the government, I'd love to talk to them.
Do you currently have any resources to understand that?
We have a public relation, representative in our office who tries to do this, but we would like to understand more.
Okay, so if you're in that space, perhaps DFAT can share some of their memos over to you during the coffee break. I'm sure somebody can assist our dear Peter here from Ecolean. Managing Director of Ecolean Vietnam, Peter Haugard, thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for sharing your insights today.